Hey everybody, what's going on? Boost Auto here. Today we're going to be installing our Ion Series light up handles on our 2007 to 2014 Chevy and GMC trucks. Let's get started. Light up the night with Boost Auto's new illuminated door handles. Introducing our Ion Series door handles for 2007 to 2014 Chevy and GMC GMT 900 trucks. Offered in a wide range of customizable options, these illuminated door handles are sure to set your build apart from the rest. Enhance visibility and add a premium touch to your truck's appearance with these handles. Our groundbreaking Ion Series module enables turn signal functionality, so it is sure to match the rest of your Boost Auto products. Alright, so before we begin, if you're going to be installing a rear handle on your vehicle, you're going to want to move your seat all the way forward. We move the seat all the way forward because you're going to have to take off some panels and we need access to those when we go to remove our rear door handle.
Now we will disconnect our batteries.
First thing we're going to do is disconnect the negative terminal on our primary battery, which is on the passenger side of the vehicle. Set it aside.
The door panel removal and reassembly steps vary slightly depending on your truck's trim level. Please follow the steps that pertain to your vehicle. These first steps are for lower trim trucks. If your truck is an LTZ, SLT, or Denali, please skip ahead to the next section. First, we will use a trim tool to remove the sail panel. Then we will move on to removing this trim piece on the door grab to reveal 2 bolts. Remove those bolts, and then remove the door grab. Next, remove the trim piece underneath the armrest. This will reveal another 2 bolts that we'll need to remove. Now remove the panel that is behind the inside door handle. Remove the bolt there as well. Use your trim tool to pop the window switch bezel out of place, then disconnect all of the electrical connectors. Now use a pocket screwdriver to pry on the latch of the door lock rod cover. Once it's disengaged, you can pull it off. Now use a trim tool to pry the door panel off of the door.
Now that we've got the panel pried off, what you're going to do is lift up and then pull out. The one thing that's still holding on to the door panel is this door latch cable. You're going to need to take some needle nose pliers and pry on the 2 tabs on each side of where it's connected. Once you've got that, you should just pull back like that. You may need to move the handle, and there you go. Once this door panel is fully disconnected, safely set it aside.
Now we will look at the process for removing the door panel regarding high trim trucks. First, we will remove the door locking rod cover. Then we will move on to this trim piece in the armrest, which will reveal 2 bolts. Remove those bolts. Now we will remove this trim piece behind the door handle. Remove the bolt there as well. Remove the sail panel, and then we will move on to disengaging the trim clips in the door panel with a trim tool. Lift the panel up and out to reveal the door handle cable. Use a pair of pliers to push in the tabs on the cable, then take the cable out. Now unplug all of the connectors from the door switch bezel. You can now remove the door panel and set it aside.
All right, now that we've got our door panel off, we're going to remove or peel back our door liner.
We will now begin working inside the door to remove the old handles. Depress the tab on the middle of the retainer clip, then either pull or gently use a pry tool to open the clip to disconnect the door latch from the clip. Once the retainer clip is disengaged and you've removed the door latch rod from it, use a trim tool to push on the handle to latch rod and disengage it from the clip that connects it to the door handle.
Your truck may have a little cover right here, much like this one. If you've got one, use a trim tool to peel it off.
Once you have those grommets removed, we can use these holes to remove the 2 door handle bolts.
All right, now that we've got the two bolts disconnected from our exterior door handle, we are going to be able to remove it. You're gonna pull on the handle and push it forward slightly. Then you need to pull back ever so slightly, pull on the handle, look for the rod, and then remove the handle entirely. Now that we have the exterior door handle removed, we need to transfer a few components. One of those is gonna be the door handle rod. In order to do that, you essentially need to twist this and pull at the same time. Now we just need to remove the lock cylinder. In order to do that, we just have to pull this clip back with a flathead screwdriver. All right, now we got our brand new Ion Series handle here that we're going to transfer our components to.
You do not need to remove the retaining clip when reinstalling the lock cylinder. You will hear it snap into place once the lock cylinder is fully inserted.
Now we'll reinsert our handle rod. Before moving forward, let's go ahead and clean off the surface where our old handle was.
Now we need to drill a 5/8 inch hole to allow for the insertion of the Ion Series door handle connector. Do your best to center it between the pull handle groove and the pre-existing bolt hole.
We're going to start with a center punch. Then you're going to want to drill your pilot hole.
Once you have your pilot hole drilled, you will then want to use a step bit to carefully work your way up to a 5/8 inch hole.
After you drill your hole, it's recommended to use a paint pen to prevent any corrosion on the now exposed bare metal. Okay, now that we've got our hole drilled and painted, we're going to take our door handle connector, stick it through there. Now you're just going to reinstall your door handle in the reverse order of removal.
Make sure the harness is properly fed into the door panel, so it does not get caught in the handle upon installation. Now reinstall the two 10mm bolts. Be careful not to over-torque your door handle bolts. Re-engage the door lock cylinder rod, then attach the door handle rod to its clip. Now for rear door trim removal, follow the same steps as pertains to your vehicle's front door trim removal. We will now begin working inside the door to remove the old handles. Depress the tab on the middle of the retainer clip, then either pull or gently use a pry tool to open the clip to disconnect the door latch from the clip. We will now be removing these two 10mm screws that attach the handle to the door.
Okay, now we can remove our rear exterior door handle with all the bolts removed. Okay, for the rear door handles, we need to transfer this door handle rod. Okay, and we'll reinsert our rod into our new handle.
Be sure to clean the surface before installing the new handle.
After you found your center point here, we're going to use our center punch again. All right, so we're going to insert the cable into our previously drilled hole. Now we're going to install our Ion Series door handle.
Now reinstall the two 10mm bolts. Then re-engage the door latch rod retainer clip.
All right, we've got our door handles installed. Now we're going to move on to our module installation. All right, so we are going to take our Ion Series module, and it's going to be placed near our vehicle's body control module, which is near the driver's footwell.
First, we will plug in the 4-pin harness, and then the 2-pin harness. Now set your module near the BCM. First, we will locate the footwell air duct, as we need to remove this to access the body control module. Simply pull the air duct towards the outside of the vehicle and then down and out of the way. With the air duct removed, we can now access the connectors in the body control module. At the body control module, we will be removing the brown and black connectors. We will start with tapping at the black connector. We will be tapping on the wire at pin 10 first. Insert your T-tap and then clamp it down with a pair of pliers. Now we're going to go back to our Ion series module. We are going to take the 2-pin power input harness and pull the red wire to the desired length.
All right, once you've got your desired wire length, go ahead and cut it to length. Take a pair of wire strippers, expose the end of the wire. Now you're going to take your exposed wire and you're going to crimp it to the butt connector on the provided fuse with your kit. All right, so go ahead and crimp that. Go ahead and heat shrink this butt connector now. Go ahead and just pull this exposed wire here. Go ahead and crimp this spade connector.
Now plug your connector into the T-tap we installed on the wire coming out of pin 10.
All right, on the same connector, we are going to tap our right-hand turn signal wire, or pin 5. That is this wire that we see right here. Take another T-tap, tap that wire. All right, so we're going to take our function input harness to our module and find the red wire with the green tracer, or pin 4. And you're going to want to pull that to length, cut the wire. All right, go ahead and connect your spade terminal into the T-tap on your right-hand turn signal wire. All right, now that we have connector X5 disconnected, we're going to take pin 4, or the left-hand turn signal wire, like we have right here, and use another T-tap. Go ahead and take your T-tap. All right, after installing that T-tap, we're going to take our function input harness, go to pin 2. That is the red and blue wire, and you are going to pull that wire to length.
Cut the wire to length, strip it, and then crimp a spade connector onto it.
Go ahead and plug your spade connector into the T-tap.
Now go ahead and plug the connectors back into their respective positions in the BCM. Now we will be using the black wire on the Ion series module for ground. For the ground wire, remove the nut on the left part of the accelerator pedal assembly. Cut and strip the end of the black wire with an electrical multi-tool. Then crimp a ring terminal on the stripped black wire and install it on the stud of the previously removed nut. This next part is only applicable if you optioned for running light.
The last wire we're going to route from our function harness is pin 1, or the park lamp wire. So you're going to take this orange wire and you're going to tape it to a straightened out piece of metal, because we need to route this to the passenger side of the vehicle.
Tape the wire to a straightened out metal piece and then proceed to route the wire under the center console in the footwells. Pull the wire towards the outermost part of the dashboard, as we will be feeding it up to the junction block.
All right, so the next wire we're going to tap into is going to be behind this passenger side outer dashboard panel. So we're going to have to use a trim tool to pry this panel off. All right, so you're going to have to push down on this tab right here in order for this junction block to pull out.
With the connector tab facing up, pin 2B2 is in the first row second position from the right. Now install the T-tap onto this wire. Pull the wire we passed over from the Ion series module through the bottom of the dashboard and to length.
Go ahead and cut your wire, strip the end of the wire, and then crimp your wire to the spade connector.
Now go ahead and plug it into your T-tap.
Let's push back in our junction block. All right, after you've reinstalled the junction block, go ahead and reinstall the side panel. All right, now we're going to start the process of routing our door handle harnesses. So we're going to go back to our Ion series module. Okay, so we're going to start with the left-hand front door handle harness. So take your connector from the Ion series module, and then take your connector from the harness and plug them in together. All right, so our next steps are going to be passing this wire through the door pass-through. In order to get to that, we need to remove a few panels. We're going to start with the sill plate. After we got our sill plate removed, now we're going to remove the lower kick panel. You might need to pull back on the hood release lever. You might also need a trim tool. Okay, now that we got the panels removed, we need to remove the door pass-through.
There are tabs under both ends of the rubber boot that secure it into the pass-throughs. We will press down on them with a flathead screwdriver to release both ends from the panels.
To help us route our wires, we're going to have to remove the speaker. There's one 7mm bolt that you're going to remove. Go ahead and remove this clip.
Disconnect the speaker electrical connector. This is the opening that we will be using to route the harness from inside the cab through the door jamb boot and into the door. Use your straightened out metal piece and feed it up through the boot and then into the pass-through. Once your straightened out metal piece is in the cab, tape your harness to it. Begin pulling the straightened out metal piece through the door jamb towards the door. Pull the appropriate amount of slack through, making sure you still have some wire to tuck the module up in the cab. Now resecure the door jamb boot.
Okay, now that we got the wire through the pass-through, we're going to follow the harness that leads to the door latch. So make sure that you are taking your wires, following the harness, taping them up as you go along, and go forward from there. We're following this harness because we're going to avoid the window and the window track. We don't want to get these wires pinched by the window. All right, so we've routed our harness with the OEM harness so it looks nice and clean. At this point in time, we're going to have to consider how much wire we're going to cut.
We are also going to want to make sure that we clean the inside of our door panel, where we're going to be placing the adhesive clips to help route the wire around the window track. The clips we will be placing will be in this general area. You will want to place the clips so that you can route the Ion Series harness down from the factory harness into the door panel and around the window track.
Now that we've got our wire routed into our door panel and our adhesive clips installed, we know the length of our wire, so we're going to cut the end of our door handle harness so we can crimp it to the connector that actually goes into our door handle. All right, take your electrical multi-tool and strip the end of your wires. Now you can use a crimping tool and crimp your wires to your connector. Make sure you are crimping the correct wires together. All right, after your wires are crimped, take a heat gun and heat shrink the end of the butt connectors.
Use dielectric grease on your connector and then plug it into the door handle connector. Remember to also tuck your harness up out of the way of the window.
All right, we got the front handle installed. We're going to move to the rear handle at this point in time. We're going to start with removing the sill plate in the rear of the vehicle. Now we're going to remove this B-pillar lower trim panel. You can use a trim tool if you need to. All right, so we're back at our Ion Series module. We're going to take our door connector, plug it into the left rear port or connector on the module. All right, so for routing the rear harness, it's recommended to follow this OEM harness here. There are some spots underneath the sill plate where you can essentially route your wire underneath to prevent it from popping out from this plastic piece here. All right, so before moving forward, we're going to take the boot off of the door pass-through on the rear. This one's a little bit different than the front. So by peeling the boot back a little bit. You're going to have 4 tabs and then 2 on the back side that you kind of need to pry off before disconnecting this entirely.
To get a better angle on the tabs on the other side of the boot, I went on the other side of the door.
For this bottom boot, I'm going to reach in through the door to kind of help push through. And now we're disconnected. All right, we'll go ahead and remove the 1 7mm bolt holding the rear speaker in. And now we'll remove the speaker.
Remove this plastic clip.
All right, then go ahead and disconnect this connector. All right, so now we need to take our wires and pass them through the door pass-through. There is a spot inside this B-pillar that we need to sneak our wires through first before we get to the pass-through. You might need to use a straightened out piece of metal once again, or what I'm going to do is just tape these wires together to initially feed them through. But I will need to use a straightened out piece of metal to pass the wires through the door pass-through. I'm going to route underneath this wire here and feed it through.
Now send your straightened out metal piece through the door jamb boot.
All right, before we tape our wires to our straightened piece of metal, we need to make sure that they don't get pinched in this door jamb connector. In order to do that, we're just going to route each of our wires through this little pass-through that you can kind of see right there. Make sure that they route just over the top, just like this. All right, now we're going to tape our wire to our straightened out piece of metal that's been fed through our door jamb boot.
Now bring the straightened out piece of metal with the wires taped to it through the door jamb boot.
Go ahead and insert your wires into the rear door panel now. All right, we're going to reconnect our top boot. Just watch out for these wires, make sure you don't pinch them. And now we'll reinsert the bottom boot. All right, now that the wires are through the door pass-through, make sure we follow our OEM harness to the door latch and make sure you tie up your wiring harness as you move along.
Here you can see how we followed the factory harness with our harness.
Once again, make sure you clean off any surfaces that you're going to be attaching your adhesive clips to.
Now we will move into the door panel to place our adhesive clips. Again, we will want to place the clips in a manner that allows you to run the Ion Series harness along the inside of the door panel without interfering with the window track. Now that we know the wire length for the rear door, we will go ahead and cut the wires, strip them, and crimp the door handle connector onto the harness. Make sure to crimp the corresponding wires together. Use dielectric grease on your connector and then plug it into the door handle connector. Make sure to tuck up the Ion Series module in an appropriate location and tie up any wires to keep them from being damaged or pinched. First, we will reinstall the B-pillar lower trim piece, then the rear door's sill plate. Moving to the front of the truck, we will reinstall the lower kick panel on the driver's side. You will have to maneuver the hood release lever like so. After that, reinstall the front door's sill plate. Now we will move to the front door panel reassembly. This varies based on your truck's trim. Reinstall the speaker, making sure to plug back in the electrical harness as well as the trim clip. Replace the door liner, making sure to bring the door latch cable as well as the door bezel switch harness through their respective openings. Reconnect the latch cable and secure the clip into the door handle. Pull your door bezel switch harness through the door panel. Secure the top of the door panel in and over the door lock rod. Then reattach the trim clips. Replace the door locking rod cover. Now plug your connectors back into your door switch bezel. Now re-secure the door grab with the two 7mm sockets. Finally, replace the sail panel. Now we will address high trim door panel reinstallation. Pull your door bezel switch harness through the door panel. Now reconnect the end of the latch cable into its housing. Secure the clip on the latch cable into the door handle. Secure the top of the door panel in and over the door lock rod. Then reattach the trim clips. Now plug your connectors back into your door switch bezel. Push the door switch bezel back into place. Put your sail panel back on, and then we can reinstall the bolt and trim piece behind the door handle. Do the same underneath the armrest. Finally, replace the door locking rod cover. For rear door reassembly, follow the same steps as pertains to your vehicle's front door reassembly. Now reconnect the negative terminal on your battery.
All right, that does it for our Ion Series illuminated door handle installation on a 2007 to 2014 Chevy and GMC trucks. If you like these door handles, go to our website at boostauto.com to check out some of the other products for your vehicle, such as these illuminated power steps or these illuminated tow mirrors. Once again, thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you on the next one.
The products shown in this video and so much more can be purchased on our website at boostauto.com. We're proud to offer a wide selection of products, parts, and accessories for your truck or SUV to take your build to the next level. To watch more videos like this one and to find out about our newest innovative products for your vehicle, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one.